14 players had a goal. Visions of outwitting, outplaying, and outlasting all the others. But when everyone has the same goal, things are bound to get messy. And after 29 hours, the dream is still alive for only 3. From clean-shaven rookie,
if someone plays their immunity and they were the one to have been voted off, it's whoever gets the next most votes,
to grizzled veteran,
we can decide. We have the majority. It'll be 4-3-1.
Joe has transformed his game over 3 seasons. No longer able to be known only as a challenge threat, with a life in the game that spans till the merge,
better luck next year.
Joe is now making his own luck and is ready to claim the top prize.
Overall, this game has felt more up in the air than the other times that I've played. Maybe that suited my gameplay more, maybe it was just luck. I may try to appeal directly to some folks whose vote I feel I need to swing. I'm just happy to get my chance in front of the jury.
After riding out an early storm,
I'm on the chopping block for sure.
Lisa has found her way in the game. And despite being constantly looked over,
People don't see me as a threat.
Lisa has quietly made her mark and has an important piece of history on her side.
A new player always wins, by the way. Stop. That's true, don't say that.
I don't know if I should be offended that it's been assumed that I'm going to be in the final 3. I think I'm gonna have to talk a lot and try to defend myself. I'm gonna try to speak my case the best that I can and see where the jury lies.
Already one of the most decorated players in Survivor Branford history, Angela will always be an incredibly tough out in this game.
Vote Angela out next.
But having already climbed the mountain once,
I want it. I'm gonna win.
The winner of Survivor Branford is Angela.
Angela knows what it'll take to make a return trip to the summit.
I can't believe I'm in the final 3 right now. I would have never expected that. I just think I've played the best game. I don't know if I'm too confident, but I think I got it. I'm so excited.
Survivor Branford is about to crown another winner. Will our winner share Mark's natural interpersonal skills? Will they reflect Danielle's forward thinking and ability to stay cool under pressure? Will they have used Kyle's disarming friendliness to get to the top? Will this season's winner have played Jamin's clean and honest game? Or will this season's winner be the one who started it all? You ready? Final 3, welcome to the final Tribal Council. You've gone as far as you can in this game, and now the power shifts to these 8 people, the jury, that you had a hand in voting out either directly or indirectly, who will decide your fate in this game. So what we're going to do is we're going to allow each of the 3 of you to make an opening statement. From there we'll transition into a discussion with the jury. They'll ask you questions, you'll give your answers, and it'll be a fluid conversation. After that point, if we feel it's necessary, we can make very brief closing statements. We'll then vote. The jury is voting for the winner. I'll read the votes, we'll crown our champion, and then call it a weekend. Okay, then we'll start with Joe for your opening statement.
All I want to say is give a brief walkthrough of a couple of the moments that I felt particularly influential in the game. First being a vote pre-merge when we were going to vote Eddie out. Some of us had thought Eddie had an immunity idol. Angela was amongst a group of people that voted for Eddie, and Eddie ultimately ended up playing his immunity idol. We had agreed to split the vote, and I was going to vote for Kim along with someone else. I decided I think Eddie is going to play his idol. I want to throw a vote on Dennis, and we can get a tie vote, which is ultimately what happened. Kim versus Dennis. And I thought that was going to put a huge target on my back. And it did. 2 votes later, at that particular moment, I tried to maximize my opportunities to get one more vote on Mark. One, Angela had an extra vote, which she had confided in me at that time. And I also approached Melissa and Meredith, both making a case for them to vote for Mark. Melissa ultimately voting for Mark. A couple of votes later, there was a decision to be made between Melissa and Meredith. I had a final word with Lisa, Angela, and Eddie, and my final word was to go for Melissa. I thought Meredith could be my shield for the next vote, and that's exactly what happened. I feel those were my 3 most influential moments prior to votes. I tried to build relationships with multiple people, just strong one-on-one relationships. I felt Meredith diverted some attention on me early on post-merge. I would consistently go to Eddie with information that I had, like Angela's extra vote. And I also had Angela feeling comfortable enough to confide that in me. My social game speaks for itself. I had more influential moments than probably anybody else.
Thanks, Joe. Angela, your opening statement.
I think I came into this game probably as the biggest target. I know there are a lot of big targets, there's a lot of returning players, but as this is my 4th time playing and also I've won before, I know there was a lot of talk from new players that have never met me before, didn't even know that about me. Immediately they were informed of those things, and I think I was a pretty big target coming in, so the fact that I've been able to survive this long, I'm personally pretty amazed by that. I think a lot of the stuff Joe talked about, we've worked together since the beginning, and I was involved in a lot of those decisions and a lot of those votes, like deciding between Meredith and Melissa at that vote. Those were decisions that were made as a group a lot of the time. Coming into merge even, I was told I was the target. I hadn't won that first individual immunity. Like, I would have been voted out at that time. The fact that I won 3 immunities is the only reason I'm sitting here right now. By doing that, it's the only thing that kept me going in the game, so I kind of pulled those out when I needed to. I did find the advantage of the extra vote right after merge, so as soon as it was hidden, I found it right away. And didn't tell anyone until I knew walking into that tribal I was about to get votes, and so I confided in Joe because I needed to know for sure, do I use it now or can I save it as long as I possibly can? And so I confided in him because he was my closest ally at that time. But even after that vote, I didn't know where everything stood. And when we played the game with the pictures sitting there, I looked at them and was like, I don't even know which of these people I can pick from out of here because I don't think I can trust anyone. And going from that moment all the way up to these last couple of votes where people were coming to me saying, you have all the power, what do you want to do? You make the decision. And I mean, I got to the final 5 where I had an extra vote. I had someone that was confiding in me that they have an idol, how they found it, and that they were willing to play it for me. And none of that was even necessary. I was completely safe at that point by working all the different social aspects of the game and making close relationships with Joe and with Eddie and with Lisa. And I think I kind of built a really good relationship with everyone where everyone trusted me and everyone kind of stopped seeing me as a target somehow. I think I've overcome a lot, and I've been able to use all the different people I've built relationships with and didn't even need to use those advantages that I had at the end of the game. And especially with Lisa, you know, we were a late alliance in the game. We had never even spoken. We were the last 2 people to ever even speak to each other. We didn't know each other at all. And we quickly built a pretty strong bond and built up trust and confided everything in each other. We told each other about our advantages, and we voted together for the last few votes at least, and really built like a strong alliance late in the game, which I think was really important. It was part of the reason why I'm here right now. I'll leave the rest for questions from you guys, but I do think I've played a pretty strong game.
Thanks, Angela. And now, Lisa, if you'd give us your opening statement.
I don't know that my spiel will be as long as these 2 guys. I feel like from the first challenge, it was very obvious that I was not going to be a physical competitor in this game. So needless to say, I was super intimidated by everyone that I was competing with. I knew that if I could make it to the merge, I would cruise, because why would you not keep me for individual immunity challenges? I don't know if anyone thinks like, oh, she wasn't trying or she didn't care. No, that's 100% me. Like, I'm just not a physical competitor. I feel like my big break in the game came when I found the glue for the idol, and it told me I had to sit out the challenge and make some type of excuse, and then I would be rewarded with the idol. And I think that having that idol really gave me a sense of peace. I did want to use it to save Mark because I wanted to preserve Phoenix. Melissa was the wild card in that one, and I didn't know which way she was gonna go, so that's why I was like, oh, I need that idol to save Mark. Unfortunately, it did not work out. I did not have the idol on me at the time that I needed to have it on me, so that was like my own flub, my own faux pas. When things got narrower, I really thought about, less about getting here and more about who I wanted to get here with. Eddie was a threat, and a good one at that, a fierce competitor. I didn't want to be sitting next to him because I feel like I would be inclined more to lose votes to him. And I said this, I don't know who I said it to, but in discussion somewhere, I'm like, I'm super intimidated by Mara. Like, I know we've been aligned since the beginning, but I am so nervous to sit next to her and have her speak and have her just be like, so articulate, and just be like, this is the way I played, because she played a bomb game. Angela, I feel like I trusted, because as she said, we shared, two pretty big things with each other. I made the decision late in the game to go to Angela and tell her that I had the idol. I had to play it. I knew I wasn't at risk. And then Joe was just, I think, along for the ride. I didn't really form any type of relationship. Okay, sorry, I guess it was as long.
Okay, final three, thanks for your opening statements. So what we're going to do now is open the conversation up to the jury. We'll start with the Outwit portion first. That's the strategic moves that the final three made in this game to get where they are and why you're sitting where you are. So for the jury, whoever would like to speak first may do so, and we'll go with the conversation from there.
Angela and Melissa, you've made you both kind of alluded to the fact that you two were aligned coming into the end. That you were of a team. Who was the leader of that team?
I mean, I think I was. I think Lisa came to me to say, what should we do a lot of the time. It was only those last couple of votes. I mean, we only aligned at the very end. But, I mean, I had immunity for one of them, and I had the extra vote for the other. And it kind of came down to who I thought, especially at the end, who was the bigger threat between Joe and Eddie. And before that, deciding between Joe and Meredith. I kind of pushed us towards keeping Joe at that vote, and then also at the last vote again, just because I thought I had a better chance. In my mind, I think I was kind of making those final couple decisions.
I found Angela and told her I had the idol. I don't know, there was something about her that I felt like I could trust. She then told me that she had the extra vote. So we kind of figured out at that point that together we pretty much could get to this point. I know that I was trying to strike this up though.
Sounds like the consistent message I'm getting from you guys is that you were responsible for the alliance forming more so perhaps, but then you might have been more the driving force behind who got voted out once the alliance had formed.
I think so, and I think that's probably consistent throughout my game, was kind of every vote was such a scramble because there was times where I was on the bottom and kind of had to pivot from who I was working with, and I was just trying to take advantage of who I think I can rely on for this vote to get me one further. For Brandon's vote, that was when I revealed to Joe that I had the advantage because we were gonna vote out Lisa. And I said, I don't think I have enough votes to know that I can not get voted out myself, so I want to make sure that I don't have to use my advantage if I don't have to, so let's switch, let's vote out Brandon's. I think throughout the game I've kind of just relied on whoever I can trust at this moment and who I can use to do what I want to do, so that's kind of been the strategy all along.
I did look to other people, I did, and I kind of went with what I thought was going to happen. A lot of the time I said, I know this is what's going to happen anyway, and I don't want to risk my place in the game by voting for someone else and then having them somehow find out.
Angela, could you explain why you thought it was better to take another returning player to the Final Four and risk the chance of splitting votes between the two of you instead of taking Eddie?
For me, I didn't want to look at it as returning players versus not returning players. I've kind of tried to avoid that view of the game the whole time. Eddie had a better game. I think he made bigger moves. I think he came as a huge underdog, especially in our tribe. We tried to vote him out and he played an idol successfully. He won immunities when he needed to, and I just thought he had more gameplay. I thought Joe and I had a fairly, we played together a lot of the games, so a lot of the moves we made were together, but then I did more, I thought, and I thought I could have a better case than Joe. versus Eddie, where we played a different game. We can make a totally different argument. I don't know where that's going to land with you guys, but Joe, I just thought I might have a leg up.
Joe, what do you think of the decision by Angela and also Lisa to bring you versus Eddie? Was that smart of them? Was that dumb? Why?
If Eddie was sitting here right now, I 100% believe he'd win the jury's vote. So I needed to maximize his achievements when I was speaking to Lisa and Angela and minimize my own achievements. And I deliberately did not say a lot of the stuff that I decided to speak about in my opening statement. Throughout the entire game, I tried to be very careful with how much information I revealed, and I felt I was somewhat successful in getting other people to be more forthcoming than I needed to be.
When I was thinking about how you played the entire game, I thought of you as like pretty quiet actually, no huge moves, no big betrayals or anything like that. And I thought maybe that was your playing style, but do you feel like that was more of a tactic you played to kind of drift under the radar, not have too many votes against you?
I don't think I drifted under the radar because, at least for the three of us, I think I had at least as much of a target on my back as Angela did, and I had the most votes, if you tally them up, out of the three of us getting to this point. I wouldn't say I had a huge betrayal. The biggest would be my attempt to get Dennis out early on. For whatever reason, that didn't lead to my demise, even though it was just a very clear attempt to get a strong player out. Later on, I knew Mare, I needed to keep her there for long enough to be a shield for me, so it was a balancing act, and I needed to play that relationship fairly delicately.
This is for you, mostly Lisa. I don't think there was a single conversation that I had with you one-on-one where I wasn't honest with you, and I made some choices to give you information, particularly about Mark's idol, and about how the fact that I had voted for Joe when I was playing that I had voted for Mark. And I understand the reason that you gave for the decision that you made in going to Angela, but hearing her, sitting next to her and hearing her say that that was unnecessary, do you regret that decision?
I can't say that I regret it. I stay true to the fact that you would be a huge threat to me up here. I feel that. I felt it from the beginning. And I did trust you, but I don't know fully if I did 100%, just being honest, because other people were saying, well, Mare said this to me. Mare said this to me. I do feel good with the two that I have sitting next to me. I did not feel good about voting you out by any means. I did it solely because I didn't want to be sitting next to you up here.
I have a question. My question's for Joe. What was the biggest lie that you told during the game, and how did it benefit you?
I don't know if I had like an influential lie. I always felt like I found opportune moments to forge a relationship with people when the target was on my back and get attention on someone else. I'm sure I told lies in that moment, but I just needed to get the attention off of me. Because, like I said, I felt like I had a target on my back at times, and I'm sure I lied in there to people at that time to try and just get attention away from me. I can't think of a specific one, though, I'm sorry.
Okay. And then I also have a question for Angela. What was the most challenging vote for you? Like, was there ever a point where you felt like this could go either way, and I'm really not sure who I want to vote out?
Easily the vote when I had to choose after the revote between Kim and Dennis. So this was a while ago, but it was definitely like the hardest vote, not even in this game, like I've ever had to do in Survivor. I was trying to work 100% with Kim, like I wanted to work with Kim. And then the second I heard that Joe voted for Dennis, I thought there was a big crack between them two. And so I thought if I took Dennis, I could say he'll be like my strongest ally in the next vote. It was a struggle because then Dennis got voted out right afterwards. So I tried to, as hard as I could, to campaign for Dennis to stay after that. And I tried to build another alliance with Mark and Meredith and tried to make a last minute like campaign to keep Dennis here. And then I couldn't do that either. So.
Here, Angela, did you know both about, when I went out, about Mark's idol and or that we didn't have enough votes for sure?
I didn't know about Mark's idol, but I knew we didn't have enough votes. And that's why I tried to campaign for you at the very end. I was upstairs in the kitchen with Joe and Meredith and Mark, and I tried to say, let's make a powerhouse alliance with the four of us. But I was trying to get those two to flip instead of voting out you to say, let's just, the four of us, go vote whoever, Lisa or Melissa or someone else outside of the four of us and get you to stay. Because at that point it was all of them against you and us against Mark. I just knew everyone was throwing your name out there. I just knew you weren't going to get it. Like, you didn't have the votes. No one was talking about keeping you. I mean, I knew you were going to get voted out, and you did.
If that's true, I might lean toward voting for Joe instead of you for not letting me know that you knew it.
One thing I do want to say about this is I recognize that there was a high likelihood that I was the swing vote in that situation. And I figured I would have a better opportunity of working with Mark than you, since I tried to get you off a couple of votes before that.
I'll have one question, which is, going into the merge, there were 5 former Phoenix members and 4 Dragonfly members. That majority-minority fell apart very quickly. And I wanted to know what role each of you played in that part of the game.
Prior to the merge, the Dennis Kim tie vote, that sowed discord amongst our tribe, and it could have made the Phoenix tribe be like, okay, this will be easy pickings. What I was planning for was that, okay, they might try and poach some of us at this point. Instead, it was a Brandon vote a couple after that I was like, okay, we can at least get one off of former Phoenix and we're good. And once that happened, I don't think the former tribe alliances really held much weight anymore.
Brandon was the first to fall off of our alliance. And I kind of knew that because he had told me that he saw you, Mark, as a threat. I didn't feel right about ruining our alliance. We had the numbers. I trusted you guys. I don't know that I necessarily did what I could to talk him out of it. I feel I could have done more to perhaps get him to stay on this side of things, on the Phoenix side of things. And then I know there was a little bit of dissent further down the line with Melissa. And it, again, back to you, Mark. And people were getting in my ear, too, saying, well, Mark this, Mark that, like he's saying different things. Then I went and talked to you one-on-one. You said exactly to my face what people said that you were saying. Like, I just felt like after talking to you, I'm like, no, Phoenix. Melissa, I feel like her mind was made up. She was kind of like, I want to shake things up. I want to do this. I didn't feel like there was anything I could do at that point, though, to get her to not vote you. So I feel like first with Brandon, just viewing you as a threat from the start, and then with Melissa, and then it kind of just dissolved.
For Brandon's vote out, that was when Joe and I were stuck at the top of the stairs making a final decision, and I said, let's do Brandon, because I don't think we have the votes for Lisa. And then I got down to tribal and leaned over to Meredith and said, Brandon. And then we all voted him out. And then when we got to your vote out, I mean, that was me and Melissa talked a lot, and I thought we had built up a little bit of trust at that point, and I think that hopefully played a part in her deciding to vote you out. And then at that point, the tribes were a little bit more balanced. I think I had a pretty good hand in getting us to the point where the Dragonflies were back on top in the majority alliance.
So now let's move to the outplay portion of the discussion. So this is the physical challenges, both pre-merge and post-merge. The unprecedented conditions we had to deal with the heat this weekend really confined us to a tight space inside mostly, and how that might have shaken up the game. Anything else, involving the physical aspects of this 30-hour marathon that we're about to wrap up. If there's anybody who hasn't spoken yet, perhaps this would be a good time to jump in.
Lisa, I had a question for you. Based on your performance in the challenges, I really expected you to be one of the first voted out. Why weren't you voted out early?
I think that was the toughest part in the game for me. Like I said, if I made it to the merge, I kind of knew I would cruise. The beginning was the biggest hump to get over. I think that I really appealed to Mark and Melissa. They understood that I wanted to be there. I think that my ability to form those relationships kept me and gave me more opportunities in the game.
How would you defend your physical performances by saying you outplayed the other two people you're sitting next to right now? Joe, we'll start with you.
I can't say I did better than winning 3 idols, that's for sure. But I was consistently performing towards the top, whether it be a physical challenge or a mental challenge, aside from that 5x5 grid, which I did miserably in. And then pre-merge, I think I'm seen as a strong asset physically in the challenges. And to an extent, that works against me. People constantly perceive me as a threat in the challenges, especially post-merge. And I think that's one reason why someone consistently got votes. Like I said, I was able to divert attention when I needed to. Do I wish I did better in some of those? I wish I won that last one. I felt like it was one that I could have won, but I'm here now, so it didn't really have much bearing on my end game.
Is outplay synonymous with winning to you?
It would be contributing toward your goal of making it to the final 3.
So if you're asking me how I outplayed two phenomenally talented, athletic people, even though they might not refer to themselves that way, in my mind, yes. Can I say physically I bested them? Absolutely not. But my strength was in not being physical. That's what got me here. Did I outplay them in the sense that I went hard and can run and jump and throw and do all of this stuff? Absolutely not. I outplayed in a different way. And that's all I can say.
In past seasons, I've been comically not a physical threat, usually to the extent where I'm almost going to get voted out of my tribe because I can't do like a swimming challenge or something. So I think for me this year, I was, the most surprising athletic, whatever the question was. I surprised myself I definitely would have never guessed that I would win so many of those challenges. I don't think those were like the most physical challenges, but I took advantage of the skills that I do have and I was able to win those challenges, and I'm proud of myself at least. Well, I obviously won more than anyone else here, so that's pretty good for me.
I'm curious to hear everyone's opinion on what role you actually think having won challenges should even play in like getting the vote.
Normally, I don't think it's as important as your strategic game, for sure. I think your strategic game is more significant. But I will say, like, the times that I won those challenges were the only reason I'm here right now. Like, I had to win those challenges, and it's part of the game. That is how the game is played. So by winning those challenges, I was able to get this far. No social game would have gotten me past that. Like, there was a merge, and then the whole other tribe wanted to vote me out. I couldn't have done anything to change that. Those were just preconceptions about me. I think the other thing is what you do with it when you have immunity. Well, how do you spend that time? Like, you could say, I'm safe, I'm gonna do anything, I'm gonna sit here and see who everyone votes out. But like, using that time to build those relationships, that's the only way I was able to get in with anyone on the Phoenix tribe. Because I had that immunity for that first vote, I could start building relationships and actually have someone that was gonna have an honest conversation with me and talk and build a relationship that's gonna carry me forward. It's an important part of the game. It is literally part of the game, so it has to be considered.
I agree. I think strategy is more important, and you can win an idol, but it wouldn't carry much weight if I was on the jury. For someone like Eddie, I think it was clear we had to get him out if he didn't win one. Overall, I think strategy is more important, and winning challenges is a great, very tangible thing to point to, but it doesn't always have great influence on the outcome of the game.
I think the act in and of itself of winning is what it is, and it's kind of doesn't seem like it should be considered. It changes the dynamics of how you may have interacted with teammates prior because you were going to vote this person out, but now this person has immunity. The winning itself maybe, not to be considered as much as then the play that comes afterwards, the strategy play.
So let's go to the final portion of the discussion, and that's the Outlast element. And I'll define that as just a catch-all. Anything that didn't fall into the first two categories, or anything you feel we might need to revisit quickly or touch upon, now's the time for that.
Joe pointed to some really particular points where he made decisions in his strategic play. A lot of the time when you were talking about group decisions that were being made. Can you give me an example of where you made a decision by yourself that influenced the game?
Yeah, so when Joe didn't get voted out, he was trying to get me to play my advantage. And I looked around and I said, okay, if I play the advantage, I can maybe get a tie vote. He wanted me to force a tie vote, and then he thought on the revote maybe one of you two would flip, because at the time we weren't sure if either of you two were gonna vote for him. In my mind, I thought Melissa was gonna vote with us, and also I thought if she didn't and Joe got voted out, I need that advantage for myself for the next vote, because there's no way I'll have the numbers otherwise. I'll need that. So I thought, I looked at it from my perspective, and I wanted to save Joe, but for me, in my game, I thought it was the best decision to not use that advantage at that time, and it ended up working out perfectly. I think there were a lot of other times. I know Joe wants to take mutual credit for the Brandon vote, but also I leaned over and told you we're voting for Brandon, and you would have never known that, and you wouldn't have trusted me after that, because you would have been the only one voting for Lisa if you were really going to vote with us the whole time, which I think you were. By doing that, I built a relationship with you and had at least a little bit of trust. I know we had a little on and off trust throughout the game, but I don't think he would have told you. We were already at Tribal at that point, so you would have had no idea of knowing if I hadn't done that, and I think that helped me a lot.
I have a question. This is for all three of you. Of the members of the jury, who is someone that you wish you had maybe played the game a little bit more with, that you felt like there just was never the right opportunity to work with them?
I wish I could have worked with Kim more. Pre-merge, there was an alliance developing between me, Angela, and Dennis, and we wanted to bring Kim in with us, so we would at least line up a couple of votes had we lost those challenges early on. But I told Kim, I'm like, look, the optics are if we put us in order, Dennis, me, and Angela, you would be at the bottom of that list because you're new, you're less experienced. I wanted her to start thinking longer term, and I wanted to be one of those pieces that would help her think longer term. And that was one of the reasons why I voted for Dennis when I could force that split vote when I knew Eddie was going to be using his idol. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, and that's one of the reasons why I wish I could have worked more with Kim long term.
I'd say Dennis. I feel like I was told early on that he was a power player and deceptive and a liar. That is the direction I was led, and I feel like I was led there by like people that I trusted. I would have liked to see what you could have done in the game for myself.
So I think I have a lot of people that fall into that category. Kim was definitely one, of course. I tried to have final two before. I think that was before even Joe went to you. Like Kim, obviously I wanted to work with you from the beginning. Mark, I tried several times to make an alliance with you, but you just wanted to vote me out, so it just didn't work out. And then Melissa, as I said, like I really did want to work with you, and I think from the beginning, like you said, we didn't get to work together, and then as soon as we got to the merge, we tried to do something, but it just didn't work out, and I wish we had got to.
I want each of you to say quickly why you think like the other two deserve it less than you.
Honestly, as I sit here, I feel a sense of like, you're like, this is what I did, this is what I did, and Joe's like, this is what I did, this is what I did, and I'm kind of like, yeah, I just like formed relationships and like cruised through. I feel like they had physical strength to rely on, even though they may not say that that's the case. I was viewed a certain way from the start. I had to overcome that. They weren't faced with the same challenge. They seemed to be closely aligned from the start as well. It carried them through all the way to here. I was meeting people for the first time.
So, I mean, I think I played a much more strategic game than Lisa, and I think I made a lot more moves, made a lot more relationships, and was kind of under the gun a lot more often and had to work with people to save myself, save the people I wanted to save, and had to make a lot more moves and be a lot more actively playing the game. For Joe, I mean, we played together a lot, but I still think I made a lot more relationships and made a lot more moves. I feel like I at least tried to work with every single person here and built relationships with all of you and really tried to work every angle I could the whole entire time. I tried to save Joe at times even, and I don't think he ever really had to do that for me or wanted to do that for me. I was really trying to play a very loyal game to the people that I was loyal to.
I felt like I played the most strategic game of us three up here. I felt like I had the most influence on the votes of us three. I mean, Angela definitely had me on the idol count, but I think we all agreed that the strategy is more important than the idol count. There were instances where yeah, we worked together a lot throughout the game, and there were a lot of mutual agreements that we came to, but I think there were times where I made my voice heard when it needed to be heard, and I drove the direction of a lot of those decisions. I felt like I consistently had a good pulse on what was going on, and I knew when I needed to try and get attention off of me and put it on someone else.
Can I just say, like, I think a good example of me having a pulse on the game was I never played my advantage, and I never needed to, and I would have played it at any time if I had thought I needed to, or if I didn't know what was going on. But I had a grasp on the game and what was going to happen at every vote, and so I never needed to use the advantage the whole time. So maybe I had that available to me, but I never even needed to use it. I knew that I didn't need to use it, and I got all the way to the end without it.
So for closing statements, this is any final thoughts that you want to leave the jury with before they make their vote? Any loose ends you want to tie up? Any last impressions you want to leave on the jury? So Lisa, you're up first.
Okay. I feel like I'm walking away from this game having learned a ton about myself, about everybody here. Sorry. That's it. I'm just happy I made it this far, and I'm grateful for like the experience, because this is just not my personality. Is not to like be super competitive, but I am happy with what I did. And I was telling Mark earlier, there comes a point in the game where everyone feels like they need to make a decision that's best for them, and mine was when I aligned with Angela to get here. I just thank you all.
Okay, Angela?
I've said everything. You know, I think I played a good game. I think I played a very honest game, as I said, and I was a strong competitor physically. I played a good strategic game. I made relationships with every single one of you people here. I'm here again. I've been in the final three, and I still, without any of you voting me out the whole time, got back to the final three again. I don't know how you guys let me get here again, and I can't believe it. I'm honestly in disbelief that I got this far, but thank you so much, and I'm really grateful to be here.
All right, and now Joe?
I just want to say it was a great game, Lisa and Angela. Both of you did really well for a multitude of reasons, and it was great playing with everybody on the jury and also the folks that aren't here anymore. I'm just happy I made it past that post-merge hump that I couldn't get past those other two times. it's been a really fun time.
Thanks everybody for a great final tribal council. Hopefully we've gathered the information we need. You are voting for the winner, so the person who you think played the best game, or whatever you define as the best game, and how the winner should represent your season. So with that, we'll get to the vote. So before I read the votes, just a big thanks to everyone here. It's really you that have helped to make Survivor Branford what it is and given us 6 seasons now and hopefully more in the future. Joe, Angela, Lisa, one of you is about to be declared the winner of the game, one of you for the second time maybe. So without further ado, it's time to read the votes. You guys want to see your names. First vote. Lisa. Angela. 1 vote Angela. 1 vote Lisa. Joe. 1 vote Joe. So that's 1 for each. Angela. 2 votes Angela. 1 vote Joe. 1 vote Lisa. Joe. 2 votes Joe. 2 votes Angela. 1 vote Lisa. Joe. 3 votes Joe. 2 votes Angela. 1 vote Lisa. Winner of Survivor Branford, Season 6, Joe. Congratulations. Joe, come on up.
Did I bring my tiki torch?
Nope, not this time. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Here's your $150 prize money.
Keep it, Jim. You deserve it more than any of us.
All right, well, thank you.
Me too.